Well, hello, everybody. This is your girl, Charlotte Watson, on another episode of Girl Talk. Today is finally Friday. Man, welcome to Girl Talk. We are here today with your sister, Charlotte M. Watson. We are live and in living color. Known you guys in the church setting as fellow church members with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know several people you have counseled. In fact, you've counseled me.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Me right on out of that thing.
Yes.
You, Miss Levita, you have written my foreword in my book, Breaking Free. So I am quite acquainted with you guys and what you have to say.
Yes.
And I just appreciate you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Can we say, even before you get started, that we appreciate the opportunity that you even have us here, and that we're able to share, or whatever information we're able to share. We hope that it will be a blessing to, singles, married couples, relationship. So I just want to say that we do appreciate you allowing us to be here with you, because we feel privileged to be here. We don't ever take that for granted.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you guys. When you sent me the text and told me about your YouTube channel, I thought there's a perfect door to get more people to hear what you all have to say.
Yes.
Which is incredible. You guys are doing work literally all over the world.
Yes,
with couples and with families and helping individuals. And, we as African-American people, we don't really believe in counseling.
That is true. Yes.
And so we have a hard time, and I do counseling as well. So I tell people, when your heart is hurting, you go to a heart doctor. When your foot is hurting, you go to a podiatrist. But when your marriage is hurting, why wouldn't you do that same thing and go to couples or go to someone who can help you through that process? So I certainly appreciate you for the work that you're doing to heal families. We know that's the first institution,
Yes,
and so the enemy is looking to destroy that first, and then he's got being destroy the mom and the daddy, got the kids.
That's right. That is so true. Yes.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us who you are, where you been, what you're doing, how you got
Kenna go first.
Ladies are first.
Can I always say
ladies are first in my life? Yes.
So I'll go first. Everyone, Charlotte again. I'm Levita. This is my better half. I always say he's my better half.
Yes.
Kenneth, and we are the Davison Intervention. We've been married. We just celebrated, Charlotte. We celebrated 25 years of marriage.
Yeah.
So we celebrated 25 years on March 2nd.
On my birthday. Yay!
Hey, all right.
Yes.
That's a plus.
Yes, it is. And Charlotte, we just love. We realized as a couple that we had our struggles. We had our struggles in our relationship. We had our struggles in our marriage. We had our struggles as parents. We had our struggle, just me as being a woman and being a mother. Kenna had his struggle. So what we decided was, we're having our struggles, and no one was there to kind of help us navigate and get through this thing called marriage. So we decided, why don't we do that? Give couples something, the substance, because don't get me wrong, we do believe in the word of God. We know God created marriage and all of that. We truly believe in that. But we hear so many times women here, submit to your husbands, do this, or you can't. It's almost like too many rules and stuff. But we want to be transparent and give them the reality of marriage. Marriage is it's not easy, but I love being married.
Yes. And to top all that off, what she said, I did all that she said. But marriage is hard work, and we try to help couples see that. that it's not easy.
Yes.
I mean, you know, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yes.
You know, and we let them know that it could be a good marriage, not a perfect marriage,
Right.
but a healthy marriage. But it just takes hard work.
It does.
It takes both of you all rolling your sleeves up, getting together and trying to work all of our problems out, our issues out, and our situations out to help our marriage out. So that's what we try to do. We try to help let couples know what's helping us.
Yes.
You know, what we have that's helping us, you know, gain through the struggles of life, and we try to give it to them.
Exactly.
And that's what we try to do.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think that's important. It's really interesting because a lot of times couples don't want to share the struggles that they've had.
Exactly.
I'm working on a new book that's called Keeper of the Castle, creating a home, creating an environment worth coming home to. And right in our own church, I was talking to some of the older couples because it's designed to take individuals who have been married 50 years or more and talk about those struggles and those things. And I am surprised at the number of people, particularly women, who are just adamantly against being included in that or sharing their struggles. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we wouldn't want to be what the scripture says? And that's, we're going to teach the younger women, you know, why wouldn't we want to do that and be honest with it?
I think because of the mask. I always say a mask. In church, we wear a mask, and I'm gonna use that. Like sometimes people may ask you, "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. You know, everything is going well." But you're really not doing well. And I think if we start being transparent and just opening up and just letting people know, even if you ask, "How you doing?" "You know what, sis, I'm really not doing that well today." And I think we've had, even with social media, we got these likes, we got all of this going on to where if I don't get the certain likes or if people see me in a certain way, in kind of more of a negative way, that's not good. To me, I didn't get this way where we are right now in our relationship overnight. I had to go through some struggles to get here. So the way I see it is, if I went through those struggles and you see that I'm still here, just like you've gone through some struggles, may not have been through your marriage, but surely you may have gone through struggles, but you're still here. And I think if we look more into that versus trying to get our likes and holding up this mask, I think we can help so many people with marriage, with relationship. I think that will be so powerful if we're able to be more transparent in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And let me piggyback on that, Charlotte, too, if you don't mind, because oftentimes we're always worried about what people will say. What would people say? What would people think if they know that I'm going through the struggle and I'm in leadership, or I'm a pastor's wife or a deacon's wife? You know, what would they say about that? And it's time out for that. It's time out for worrying about what people think of me, what people would say about me. It's time I started trying to be more real. So that's what we try to convey. Couples tell us that all the time. We can't do what y'all do. We can't put our business out in the street and tell people how we're struggling and tell people how you got over the hump and things like that. A lot of couples tell us that they can't do that because either one is going to be damaged or the other one's going to be damaged. And they're worried about each other. You know, they're worried about what people may say, what people may think. We don't care. We don't care, Charlotte. We don't care what people think about us. We don't care what people say about us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what matters is us getting healthy, us getting, you know, strength from each other, and then trying to help someone else. That's what it's all about with us. Yes.
So when you're counseling, in fact, let you tell the audience because you guys, like I said, you're literally all over the world counseling, particularly military couples and things like that. So tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing to help individuals currently.
Well, let me just throw out this disclaimer. We're not licensed professional counselors. We're not licensed in the state of Texas. So people just say we're counselors because when they call us, they say, well, let me call Kim and Levita because I know they can counsel us through the process. So let me just throw that out there. But what we actually do, Kenneth and I, we do premarital. We're registered with the state of Texas, which Together in Texas. And what that entails is, if you come through one of our classes for premarital, state of Texas have set up a program that they realized that there were so many divorces. So they set up a program where you can come through premarital for 8 hours. They felt like if you can at least get some kind of foundation, it could help your marriage to even not possibly go into a divorce. Not saying you won't get a divorce, but to maybe get the groundwork. So we do that. We are premarital. We do counseling couples. We counsel them through the process. We also work with military couples. We're actually with this other group, and we travel to different states. And what we do is, what they do is they help the entire family.
Absolutely.
So what we do is, our portion is that we have a reconnect portion where we get the couples to reconnect because of deployment, because of TBI, just because of a number of things that they've gone through. Yes. We just try to get the couples to reconnect. Now we have a small window to work with that. But you'd be surprised, Charlotte, even in that small window that they give to us, we're able to see the couples come from the first day to like the second day. We start seeing them reconnecting as a couple, because they never had that one-on-one time together to have a two-way communication versus a one-way communication.
Right. And I was in the military, so I kind of went through some of those struggles where you had a one-way communication, where we do the way the drill sergeant said, this is either my way or the highway. And we had to learn how to, when we come home, to take those boots off and talk with your mate and have a two-way communication instead of a one-way communication. So we're using that now with the military, and we're finding out now that it works with the civilian couples also. So it's a twofold thing. So it's working with them, and then it's helping the couples also.
Right.
And let me throw in real quick. I'm sorry. We also, and I know you probably we started a blog, a podcast kind of on the YouTube, the Davison Intervention, because we felt like, just like you're here with us, you invited us here, we felt like we had to give something to couples. Kenneth and I realized a long time ago that this marriage is bigger than us. It's not just about us. It's about whatever we grasp or whatever we have, we pass it on. We don't hold on to it. Kenneth and I, we try to pass it on to impact other couples and relationships.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important, because as we have grown up, we've seen imperfect relationships modeled before us. We've seen our parents do things that at the time we knew something wasn't quite right, but as we've gotten older in our own relationships and things like that, we can say, mom and daddy shouldn't have done that, or mom shouldn't have done that, or dad shouldn't have done that, whatever. And so, but we still never address those things. And we tend to go down that same road that mom and dad has gone down. At what point should a couple come to the grips that, hey, we need a third party to intervene here. This is not working. We're, sometimes they don't come until it's about to blow up. So when is it that they need to come to you to say, hey, we need some help?
That's a good question, because most of the time when they come to the counseling office, or when they come into a session with us, I'm a life coach and my wife is a life coach also, they come to us, they almost have the divorce papers already signed.
Close to it.
So all they want to do is just say, can y'all help us with stopping this divorce? Or can y'all just give us some tips and pointers? Because the ink is already there.
Exactly.
We just need to sign off on it. And that's what most of the times couples go through. They wait till it gets so extreme that they're headed for divorce court before they cry for help.
Exactly.
And we think you should cry for help daily. We should cry for help daily, because we go through the struggles not only once a week, once a month, it's daily. It's a daily struggle come in at, where problems come in at, situations come in at. And we try to tell the couples, hey, when the wife is sounding the alarm or the husband is sounding the alarm, we both need to stop, take a time out and say, hey, what direction are we heading in before we get to divorce court? Because oftentimes that's what happens. Yes.
And let me just piggyback off of that, because what we realize as well is that just like you have your car checked, serviced, and make sure it's running properly, just like we take a yearly exam to make sure we're healthy or we're doing the things we're supposed to do. That's what we try to tell couples. At the end of the day, we want you to have a healthy relationship, because we realize once you have that healthy relationship, then guess what? Your relationship can start going in a direction, and just think about what happened when you feel healthy. You feel like you can do more. I got more
energy.
I can do this, or I can do that.
Yes.
So just think what happens if if Kenneth and I are healthy and we bringing that thing together. Man, Charlotte, that is such a powerful team that we could have versus one. And we have to be mindful of that. We take care of everything else. Why not take care of our
relationship? Absolutely.
Yes. Why not take care of our relationship?
Absolutely.
What are, and I know you see a lot of couples, I know you see a lot of a variety of concerns. I don't like to use the word problems, but you know, a lot of concerns that are in the relationships. What are some of the maybe top 3 concerns that you all
we always give a couple of the top 3. That's good. We always give them a top 3. Yes.
We say 3, but now we're seeing 4. But I'm gonna give you the 4. We see, and they're not even in this order.
No, it's not.
We see finances. We see communication. We see intimacy as the top 3. Now we're seeing role reversals.
Absolutely.
Where the woman wants to lead.
And the husband doesn't mind following.
He don't mind following.
He doesn't mind following.
So we're seeing that, and I think society kind of has set it up and built it that way. And what I mean by that is allowing women to be in certain positions, being in certain with their careers. And by no means am I saying anything's wrong with that. No, I want women. I want us to go and do what we need to do. But I think in marriage, and that was tough for me. Understanding my role as a wife.
Yes.
That was tough for me to understand it, because like you just said earlier, I saw marriage not always in a positive light. So I never really knew what it looked like to have a healthy Christian marriage. Let me say it like that. Yes, the way that the Lord wanted it designed to be.
And then and that's what happens also, is that the wife makes more money than the husband. So now she feels like she runs everything.
Yes.
And then the husband says, well, no, I don't think it works that way, but it has to work that way.
Exactly.
Because now she has to say so, because now I make more money than you do.
Right.
So now you have to kind of fall in line and do it as I ask you to do now, or as I tell you to do that. So that's where the roles start reversing itself.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How do you address that role reversal? Because it really starts with that one person and their mindset.
Exactly. The way we saw it was, women, we're so used to being independent. And just think, if you think about marriage, the way it's set up, you know, we're 2 independent people coming together and trying to bringing it together to make it work.
Right.
So I'm used to doing things my way. Kenneth's used to doing things his way. So when we're in premarital, the way we kind of get them started is, don't think of a individual mindset. We have to come together as a team.
Yes.
If you start putting things together, and what we mean by bringing things together, because a lot of times we say we got married couples living single and single couples living married.
Absolutely.
What I mean by that is that you have married couples that have separate bank accounts, and that's another topic.
Yeah.
But you have them, everything is just separated. You have your stuff over here, I have my stuff over here. Then you have married folks that single people that don't mind putting stuff together.
Yeah.
So
shacking together and living together. We don't mind that.
Yeah, they don't mind doing
it's like a couple. You know?
It's like a married couple.
And married couples, one sleeping in one room, one sleeping in the other rooms.
Right.
Individual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is try to allow them to have that team concept. Just think of any team. It's not just one person. We all have to work together. So how do I still continue to be who I am, and Kenneth continue to be who he is, but we bring it together and allow him to make that shift? And I call it a shift. I always call it a shift.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're asking me about that, because when I was single hanging out with my friends, I was this way. So I wanted Kenneth to come over here and hang out with us. Come hang out with us over here, Kenneth, come. But I realized I got married. I needed to make a shift more this way.
And put your friends behind you.
And put the friends over here.
Which was hard.
Which is hard for a lot of couples, women to, for us to do, especially if I'm used to hanging out with these girlfriends, it was hard. It's hard to make that shift. So it's more of a shift you have to make, and just understanding that this is more important than my friends.
And another question we have to ask them, Charlotte, do y'all want to change? Oftentimes, says, it's okay. I don't mind my wife leading. It's okay. Even though biblically he knows that's wrong, but he said, it's going good. Why should I mess it up? Or the wife says, okay,
for him.
Ma'am.
Yeah, that makes it easy for him.
Right.
Responsible.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we have to let them see that that's what's wrong, because you all are doing it backwards.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it forwards. So we have to ask the wife, are you willing to, relinquish some of your role?
Exactly.
And let your husband come in and get his role back?
Right.
And sometimes the wife is rebellious to say, hey,
yeah,
it's going good. Why should we mess up a good thing?
Right. Right.
And then the husband has a hard time taking it back because the wife is doing such a good job. It's hard. So we have to let them see that it's not going to work. If y'all keep going down this path,
Exactly.
it's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to work. So we have to let them see that.
Right.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. And we see that, and you're exactly right about society. It's really an enemy move, the way it has been structured, so that we as women feel like, in every area or every system, from the governmental system, we've done that, from from now the job system and how it's structured, it's so strategic how we do that. And so I know you guys have talked about boundaries and putting boundaries in place. Talk to us about those. What are some of those boundaries that we often see in relationships? And before you answer that, let me remind our guests, we have several individuals who are on, who chimed in. I want to make sure that they know that they can ask questions. Just type your questions in the chat, and those questions will be directed to the Davisons. And so just put your information there, or just whatever your questions are, and we'll make sure that you guys answer that. So boundaries. Talk to us about boundaries, and some of those boundaries that particularly us women cross all the time.
Yes, we do. I believe boundaries are one of the best things you can incorporate in a relationship.
Yes.
Boundaries helped us. Boundaries helped me as far as spending money. It helped me to know.
Let's talk about that one right there.
Charlotte, now you're gonna start some trouble if you do. You're gonna start some trouble if you do. In this home.
Yes.
Let's talk about that in my book, because I hear so many women say, they'll go buy something. They're on a budget.
Yeah.
Buy something. They'll go put it in the trunk. Wait till the husband leaves. And that kind of stuff. And y'all trying to get out of debt, but I really, I had to buy this. Talk to me about that, because we don't see that as a major concern in the relationship, in our boundaries. I mean, it's just money. It's just money, and it's mine because I bought. I went to work for it.
Right.
How does that hurt?
I talked about that on my YouTube. It's under the trust that we talked about, because that was where our trust was broken in our relationship. It was hard, but like I told Kenneth, I believe that I just felt like with me spending the money that I spent, like you just stated earlier, that I work hard, he worked hard, and I was the type of person, whatever I wanted, I'm just gonna buy. I work hard. If I got paid 2 weeks or once a month, if I work hard, I think I deserve whatever it is that I thought I needed.
Right.
I thought I needed, Kenneth. And so my saying to Kenneth was, I thought I had two monies, Charlotte. I know that's incorrect grammar, but I had two monies. I was spending my money, Kenneth money. I was spending everybody's money. I had two monies.
We do.
And I was spending, and I was hiding shoes, and I was hiding purses, and I was just hiding everything.
Y'all, she be sharp too.
Thank you.
Hey, she be sharp and broke. Sharp and broke.
You always say that, sharp and broke. But I think the part about that is, I think sometimes we go into marriage and think, and like I did, I'm not gonna just speak for myself. I realized what my income was, and I saw what Kenneth's income was. So like I say, 2 months, I got excited, like, whoa. And it wasn't like Kenneth was making just a grant, just a whole lot of money. I'm not, he just wasn't making just a whole lot, but I got excited. Okay, my income, his, oh yeah, that meant for me to shop even more.
Right.
What happened was that I didn't communicate to him what I was doing. So when I tell you I lied the whole time, and I was straight-faced, just like, I don't know what happened to the money. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But we had to put boundaries in place. Now I can go shop, and I have a certain amount that I can spend without even notifying him. That's tax included. That's with the coupon. That's everything. Whatever it is, I can't go over this amount. If I go over this amount, we both have to consult each other and say, okay, I found this deal. Can I get it? Is it good for us right now? Or not even just good for us, but am I able to get this at this time?
Yeah, and that worked out after the fact,
right.
But it didn't work out before the fact, because
right.
before the fact was she was good at saving money, she was good at budgeting money,
yes.
and I thought that would work coming into our marriage.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, like you said, she went south on it, and she just started splurging and buying things, and our accounts was bad, overdrawn, and things like that.
Was terrible.
It was just so horrible. Yes. It almost hurts us to talk about that today.
It does.
But it was so horrible that we just had to come to a meeting and say, look, we got to put some boundaries in here. Because if not, we're going to wind up broke, busted, and disgusted.
Yes.
So we had to put boundaries in place and tell her, look, you know, I can manage money just as well as you do.
Right.
So I'm going to have to take over the finances and start remanaging the money so we can get back on track. So that was one boundary we put in place. We had to revamp our whole program. I had to start back being in charge of the finance. It wasn't easy. It was like pulling teeth. I was trying to get the money back, trying to get the accounts back on straight, and she didn't want all of that.
Oh, no, I wasn't having that. That wasn't just, okay, Kenneth, you can take out.
We either headed this way or we're headed for destruction.
Exactly.
So once we put those boundaries in place, that we had to do something about it.
Yes.
Both of us came to the conclusion that it was something needed to be done.
We did.
And this is what's going to have to be done.
Exactly.
And so we gradually put that back into place and set our boundaries up and said, look, we're going to have a spending budget here and things like so. Boundaries were great for that situation right there.
Yes.
Because we hadn't put them in place, we would have kept spinning our way right on out of our marriage.
I think so.
Right out of our marriage.
I think we would have.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so that's the financial boundary. What are some of the other boundaries?
Oh, well, we have that financial boundary.
I love the intimacy part because that plays a big part in marriages too.
Okay.
Intimacy. We have a thing that we talk about that. I mean, we talk about intimacy like never before. You know, so we have to get with each other and let each other know what we want, how we want it, and when we want it. So we put that into place so we wouldn't be so confused. I'm ready tonight, you're not. You ready tonight, I'm not. So we put that into place so both of us can be happy one way or the other.
And when Kim was saying that, I love that because I would ask Kim, would you scratch my back? And he thought I wanted him to scratch her back. Yeah.
And
but
she was just.
I just really wanted him to scratch my back. So the boundary we put in place with that is he bought me a back scratcher.
Yeah.
So when I use the back scratcher, I really want my back. But when I come to him and say, Kim, scratch my back, he know what that means.
Yes, and so and so we helped each other out in that area because we were getting confused on what days, what months, what year. I said, okay, I, this day and that day is mine.
Right.
Then you should say, this day and that day is mine. I said, okay, so now we're not confused anymore.
Right.
Now it just flows down. We have any problems with that, it just flows down, and we've moved that out the way so it won't be a distraction in our marriage.
We did.
So you schedule that intimacy.
Right. We had to start out that way, but now we know. Like, I know what days Kendall like, he know what days I like, and bam, it just kind of worked out now. But at first, like you said, we did have to schedule.
Yeah, because we were so busy with the hustle and bustle of life, it never came into place. So we didn't want to push it out of our marriage. So we had to come up with an idea, a way to keep it in our marriage and enjoy it at the same time.
Enjoy it at the same time.
And so many couples do push it out of their marriage, not realizing that is so important because that's the way God designed us to be, intimate with each other and fulfilling those sexual needs. But we have, I saw my grandparents sleeping in 2 separate beds. Now, now they had 10 children, so at some point they had to come together.
Something went wrong.
Something was going down.
Something happened.
But now, but over the years, I saw them sleep. And even now, as I'm talking to couples, I'm surprised at the number of people who are living together and living apart, living separate lives under one roof. What
that's
in the
married living single?
Yes. I don't, And so the justification that I get is it's cheaper.
Right.
It's cheaper to do that, to
Right.
live under one roof. We still share the bills and that kind of thing. What's the effect of that though? Because that does have some long-term effects to it.
It does. Because sometimes when they say, because I hear a lot of couples tell me that they, they're saying for the kids, the kids is there, and it's like you said, it's just easier for us to just be here because of this. So I start asking, okay, so what happens when the kids are older and they're gone? So what happens to both of you? Now we're seeing, like you say, older couples has been married forever, and now it's like
we have nothing to do.
We have
nothing to do now. No kids, no grandkids. We have nothing to do now. So what are we gonna do with each other?
Exactly.
Just live a dull, boring life.
Right. So I think you have to continue to keep dating. I think that's where we dropped the ball. I think we start out dating.
Yeah.
We start out doing that. But I think once we're married, once the kids come, once everything else get in the way, I'm trying to build my portfolio, I'm trying to finish school and all of that. I think we kind of lose ourselves, and I mean us as a marriage in everything else. Everything else comes before us. Dating, this was first, but now it's not first anymore. And that's what Kenneth and I try to do. We always try to continue to date each other. We've been going out every Friday for the past 25 years. If we don't do Friday, we make sure Friday or Saturday, we're going to get our daytime in.
Right. And see, the way it was designed, marriage was designed, it was designed for the couples to not know each other. Just hurry up and get hooked up. Your parents know each other. Hurry up, get hooked up, and then date the rest of your lives.
Right.
But now we want to hang out with each other for 5 or 6 years before we marry each other. I want to date you for 6 or 7 years and then finally marry you.
Yeah.
Why string you along that long when I know this is what I want all along?
Right.
So we try to get couples to, reinvent that wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Start back dating each other now. Go out on a date. It doesn't have to be expensive. And go to the park or something like that, and try to reinvent yourself.
Right.
How can I get to know you even more?
Yeah.
After 25 years, Charlotte, I'm still learning stuff about her.
Yeah, I still learn stuff.
And she's still learning stuff about me.
Yeah.
Because we still talk. We still on our date. We still try to find out things about each other.
Exactly.
What makes you happy? What makes you kick?
Right.
What makes you sad? What makes you grow?
Right.
And we still try to do that and tell couples this is what you have to do to romance each other for the rest of your lives.
Exactly.
Right. And we change. Statistics says that, or research says that every 7 years we change. So we women, it's said that we change all the time, less than that.
You're right. I agree with you. You're right.
Yes, we do. Yes.
So it is important for us to communicate and talk. And my thing is communication. Out of all of the concerns in a relationship, if you can keep the communication first, then you can talk about the sex. You can talk about, the finance. You can talk about everything else. But if you don't communicate, then everything else will fall. I mean, everything else will crumble because you will not, get that, get that information that you need.
Correct.
One of the things that I talk about in my group sessions is the love language. So is that something that you all talk about with your couples, the love language test and how people love each other?
You know what? We've read and understood love language. A lot of people like to use the love language.
The 5 love languages, 7 love languages, whatever one it is.
Yeah. We don't really go into the love language.
Not unless they want to.
Unless they want to as a couple. Because we feel like, and that's why I say, I'm not saying anything is right. I think that's beautiful to know your spouse's
love language.
What their love language is.
It's great.
But I think once you communicate, again, Kim and I, we're really big on communicating. Right. Once you communicate, you understand that person. Because at this point in my marriage, I know how to pick at Kenneth and know how to kind of rough him in a negative way. I do. He know how to do that to me too. He know how to make me laugh. He know how to make me cry. He know what to say. How if he say this she's gonna take offense to this. So I think just us communicating, we understand. I know his language without him even telling me, just us communicating. I know what Kenneth enjoys, and he know what I enjoy as well.
And so we're trying to say without that book, and you can use it, but you still should know that already.
Yes.
You should know that from the start, and it's by getting back to talking to each other, getting back to understanding each other, getting back to loving one another. What we tell our couples in premarital, we ask them this question: who is the most important person in this relationship? They'll say the kids, they'll say the job, they'll say their career, my mama, my daddy. They'll say all of that, but they'll skip who is the most important person in a marriage, in a relationship. And I look at them and I say, point it to each other. You all are the most important person in the relationship. The kids are in there somewhere, the parents are in there somewhere, but they're well in the back. They should be secondary or third or fourth. They shouldn't be first. The wife should be first. The husband should be first. Outside of Jesus Christ, you know that we're saying that. Outside of them, the wife and the husband should be first. No one should come before this young lady, or no one should come before him. And it's hard to get them to see that, because they're so programmed that my mama said this, my uncle said this, my cousin said this, all the kids said this, all family, everybody has something to say with each other.
Exactly.
So we try to get them to go back to the basics and remember that this person right here is the most important person. My whole family knows it. My mother knows it. She's 93 years old yesterday. She knows that this woman right here is so important in my life. My family knows it. My son knows it. My nieces, everybody knows it. Her parents know it. Everybody knows that I'm the most important person in her life. They can't do anything about it. They can't do anything about it, because we have designed that for the last 25 years.
Wow.
How do my mom will say, "Oh, I know you got to ask Kilmer."
Yeah, you want to go? You want to do something? Ask Kilmer.
Yeah, you got to ask Kilmer. Yeah,
she knows that. And so when you get it like that, people will respect your marriage even more. They will respect you even more if you two are more important than anything else outside of this relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow. So how is it that we break this generational curse? Because that's really what it is. We've seen, you know, our parents, our grandparents, and it is difficult for us to go somewhere that we've not seen before. You know, and then we have the challenge of us not really being open to counseling. The church doesn't really talk about it. And so, or they talk about it, but don't really address the issues. They smooth over it. And so then again, it's not really addressed. And so we have these situations of, you know, my mama said, don't put no man before a man. Don't put any children. I'm sorry. My mama said, don't put a man before their children.
Your kids,
And so we've heard that before. And so we are seeing families bickering because, you know, the stepfather comes in, which is another topic that we want to talk about, is how do we bridge blended families in? But we're seeing that, and then, you know, it's just not working, because now the kids are at odds with the stepdad because mom doesn't want the stepdad to discipline the child. You know, just things like that. How do you address that?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
It starts off with practice. We tell them to try it first of all. You always say that putting doubt in front of doubt kills. So we tell them to try it, take little baby steps. Let the kids come in front of you all and ask questions with both of you all there.
There you go.
Don't ask any questions with mom in the room and then dad's out, or dad's in the room. Mom, y'all, try this just little bit of test with the kids. Let the kids come in and ask the parents together. Mom, can we have a 50 cents for allowance, or $1 for allowance, or whatever? Dad says no, mom says no. Mom, can we go over to the store? Mom says no, dad says no. Whatever you ask the question, let the kids see that we're unified in our answer. Just try baby steps. We have to let them take baby steps first, because it's been filtrated in them for the last 5 or 10 or 15 years that this is the way it's done. We have to reverse that curse. We have to take baby steps in order to get them to see it. And so we get the couple just to, first of all, believe in it themselves that it's going to work. And then try it on the kids and see what it works. Then try it on the parents to see if it works. Then try it on your friends to see if it works. You see, and next thing you know, they're getting strong by unifying themselves, and then it can help reciprocate on back into the families and the community. But you have to take baby steps though. It's not gonna happen overnight. It didn't happen with us overnight. We tell the couples that you got to start somewhere in order to reverse this curse.
Right. All right, here's a question that came in. They didn't post it online, but they posted it to me.
Okay.
They sent the question into me, and they're basically wanting to understand what they need to do with their spouse. Actually, it's a wife and her husband. And so he's going to work and he has befriended a female at work and they're just friends.
Okay.
She's uncomfortable with that.
Okay.
How does she need to approach it?
Well, the way Kenneth and and to me, I'm gonna go back to communicating. Kenneth and I, when we were dating and when we got married, we set boundaries up. I remember when I believe we were first married, when I used to see guys that I went to school with, my first thing was to go and just hug them because I was a hugger. That's just what I did. I just would hug them. Hey, so-and-so, how you doing? Hey, so-and-so, how you doing?
And wouldn't recognize me. She wouldn't recognize me as the husband.
I didn't say anything about, who Kenneth was. And, when we probably walk, people was like, who is that? Oh, that's so-and-so I went to school with. So we had to have that communication. Kenneth was like, okay, so I don't mind you hugging the guys, but address me first. So what she needs to do is, to me, have that conversation with him. Let him know how uncomfortable
absolutely
she feels about that relationship. And a lot of times men will say we come in as we're kind of nagging or kind of coming in a negative way, but just let them know, because to me, if you love and care for me as much as you say you do, to me, if I'm telling you how I feel about
the
this
situation, right?
I'm telling you how I feel about this. I just don't feel comfortable with you carrying on with women at work. I just don't feel comfortable with that. So could you possibly, could you kind of not, and I know you work with them. I'm not saying don't talk to them because I know you work with them. But can you, like, if y'all going to lunch, can you not like go to lunch unless y'all going as a team, or let me know when y'all going together as a team? But I feel very uncomfortable if you just going to lunch with her by yourself.
And if the husband's response is, "Oh, you just so jealous. Don't worry about that. Right. It's nothing but a friend." Well, if it's a friend, introduce me to the friend.
There you go.
Introduce me to the friend and see how that feels then.
Right.
If this is just a friend on the job, let your friend know my wife wants to meet you.
Right.
Right. And then that way, that takes him out the defense to say, okay, it bothers in your court.
Exactly.
We want you to handle this situation, husband.
Exactly.
And so his job is to handle it. If he cares about his wife, if he loves his wife, he's going to handle the situation.
Right.
Because women do that all the time, and men do that. They flirt with my wife, they flirt with me. And we have to handle that.
We do.
Sometimes she'll come back and tell me, and I'll ask my wife. I said, well, can you handle that situation?
Right.
She says, I think I can. So she'll handle it, but if it gets too tough, I said, well, bring old boy in on it, bring me in on it, and I'll help you handle that situation.
And he will.
So I go tell a guy, hey man, this is my queen. You find your own queen.
Yeah, and I've had to do that, Shirley. I'm gonna tell you, I've had to do that before. I was like, Kenna, this is getting I done done everything I know to do.
Yeah, he still won't back off.
He won't back off.
And so I had to go in there and say, look, man, you need to find you another queen. Yeah. This is my queen. You're not coming on my turf. You might well find your own. And it happens like that.
It does.
But we've been doing that for the last 25 years with each other like that. Women come on to me and I'll tell the reader, I said, you need to come to Bible study. Because I got women coming on to me at church because you're not even there. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll come to Bible study. And so she has to come and defend it, Right. So we help each other out in that area. So we don't even have to worry about it.
Right.
We don't even have to worry about it.
No,
but
and
it's just going back to them communicating.
Yeah, yes.
You gotta communicate. And to me, if the struggle to me is if we've never been able to communicate,
it's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard.
Yes.
Right. And that makes so much sense in the fact that sometimes we stop showing up. We send our husbands or our wives out to events together. I mean, by themselves. And so eventually, people are going to assume that they're not married and they will. And sometimes they don't mean any harm. They're just, they just fishing. And so that's how it starts. So maybe, we need to decide ourselves. Maybe we need to do something different. Maybe we need to, make sure that we're not sending our spouse out into, into the wolves.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And I think just with that I know you're about to go another question,
Right.
but I think with that as well, I think it's about trust.
Yes.
We have to be able to trust each other to know that if Ken is gonna go out, he's gonna be a man of his word and do. He's gonna go out and come in the same way, and he's not gonna do anything that's gonna damage this relationship.
Because I've had to go to lunch sometime with clients, women clients, and I would let my wife know when I'm going, you know, what it's going to turn out to be. And at the end of the day, I come back and tell her how it turned out.
Right.
She's the same. She coaches and counsels a lot of men. And she has to come back and tell me, say, look, this guy right here was a little bit over aggressive, you know, and I had to put him in this place. Right. So we're comfortable with letting each other do that. Right. But we set boundaries on it. We set boundaries on it.
Yes.
I think that's what we're not always comfortable with is the hard conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not comfortable. I call them crucial conversations that you have to have. But it will help if you have those. So because it does keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that someone says in just, I guess, bridging that same conversation about the person on the job, what about texting each other at any time of the day? So we've got this whole social media thing that's going on and it's crazy. So she says, so how about the texting each other any time of the day? And what are your thoughts of social media having separate accounts or shared accounts?
So when she's saying texting, she's saying we're texting each other, or we're texting someone outside?
Somebody else outside of the relationship is texting you.
Gotcha.
Texting one of you any time of the day.
Gotcha. So because let me address the social media first, and then I'll come back to the one about texting people throughout the day. So Kenneth and I, we do have separate social media accounts. His picture is all over mine. My picture is on his. He's very seldom, and I'm just gonna say he very seldom uses his social media account. So I'm the one that has more of the social media account. I also have an Instagram, but it doesn't have us. I don't believe our pictures on there. I believe it may be just my picture, but I talk about my husband all the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with you having a social media account if it's not affecting this relationship. Now, once I start hiding and putting stuff around and doing this and Kenna can't see what I'm doing, I think that's when it becomes negative. I think Kenneth and I, like some people say, I think we're like an open book. He knows. He probably wouldn't know how to get in it. I could give him my password.
You have to say all of that.
I could get his password. So what we try to do is show it up. We try not to have any secrets. Try not to.
Our phones. We leave our phones laying out. We leave our iPads and computers laying out where we can look at it, because we're trying to get to the point where we can trust each other wholeheartedly. And that's where you break that at. You got to start trusting each other. If you're going to be with each other the rest of you all's lives, you got to trust each other. It's okay to have separate accounts. It's okay to have separate emails and all of that, but don't be afraid to let each other see it. I have nothing to hide. She has nothing to hide. And and people text us all the time. Women text me, men text her, and they ask her secret questions and stuff like that. I look at them and she looks at them. We're okay with it. We're okay with it.
And with the texting, we do. If somebody texts me and then who is that, I'm telling them, so text me today. And I try to show up every area of our relationship where there's no secrets. And our reason why is because I want, like you said, with our parents, their relationship wasn't the healthiest relationship. So what we try to do is just try to model a different approach. We want our relationship to look healthy, not perfect. We want people to see and say, it's something different about them. Just like when you said working at it, you're like, she really toned. I need to. So that's how we're trying to do. And what we try to give couples, show up every area of the relationship. Don't go in trying to hide, because to me, the deception and all of that is headed for destruction, and it'll come back to hunt the relationship.
And it's a big thing in a relationship, though. You see this.
Absolutely.
It wreaks havoc in a relationship.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it hurts marriages like never before.
It does.
Because it's deceitful, it's spiteful, it's untrustworthy. It just does a lot of stuff to marriages. So the sooner we can shore that up, the better off our relationship is. Because I don't even look at her phone.
Right.
I don't look at her phone. She don't look at mine. That we have access to them, but we don't care about all of that. We don't care about all that. But I have to have trust and faith in her to believe that she's gonna do the right thing. She has trust and faith in me that I'm gonna do the right thing. So we try not to let that part, just hold us hostage.
Charlotte, I'm gonna tell you what I've told Kenna for the past 25 years.
Here we go.
I love to say this. He has never told me this, but I tell him this. One thing he never have to worry about is me cheating on him. I will never cheat on him.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
I'll never cheat, but I might spend up his money, and I have spent up. But I will not cheat on you.
Yeah, I don't never say never, but I'm not gonna worry about that.
Right.
I didn't cheat my first, and I'm not gonna cheat my second.
Yes,
but I don't never say never. I mean, she can say that.
He'd never have to worry about that.
Okay, so, and this is me from my personal experience, from my first relationship. How do you get that trust back after it's been broken?
Ooh. So it's steps to get the trust back.
You gotta earn it. They gotta earn it now. First of all, they got to earn it.
We know back. They have to earn it.
They've got to earn it back.
It's steps to, and I call it's steps to an apology. It's not just me saying, I'm sorry, Kelly, you know I spent that money, get over it, let's move on. It's steps to an apology. I think you first have to acknowledge, I had to acknowledge what I did, what was wrong. And before I even acknowledged, Kellen had to be at a point where he was ready to even listen to me. And I think that's the first step, because a lot of times, because I'm ready to acknowledge what I did was wrong, if Kellen's not ready to listen, this relationship, we're not ready to start having that trust.
So that's what we got to do. We got to get to a point where both of us are ready, to listen.
Yes.
Be ready and willing to accept what's going on.
Exactly.
Even if it's reality.
Exactly.
We've got to accept what's going on. Yes.
Yeah.
We have to accept what's going on first of all, and then be willing to try to, get ready to, move forward with it.
Right.
Because if we're not, we're just gonna be spinning our wheels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing we did too, Charlotte, we put boundaries. Killeth and I, we gave ourselves a deadline. Just say this month right now, we're March. Just say if it happened recently, I said, okay, you have to April 10th. April 10th, you can ask me anything you want to. Let's get it all out. And I'm saying that's what me acknowledging, apologizing, and everything. Ask me whatever you want to about me spending the trust that was broken.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be transparent, and it's up to you to either forgive me or listen to it and accept what I'm saying. We gave a deadline. So once that deadline hit, moving forward, we didn't bring that up anymore.
Not unless it was for help somebody.
Yeah. We didn't bring it up as far as, okay, there you go spending money.
Oh, here we go again. Here comes some boxes coming through. Oh boy, here we go. Right down the same alley.
That was it. We had resolved that issue. We had decided we're going to move forward. You forgave me. You accepted my apologies. So let's move forward. And that's what we did.
And that's so big in a relationship.
It is.
That is so hard. We see that now even in the military couples, even in our civilian couples. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to do.
Yes, it is. It's so hard. Yes.
It is. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we see is, and that's what it really boils down to, is forgiveness. And we don't want to forgive because nobody wants to be hurt. Nobody enjoys being hurt.
Exactly.
But we have to be, healed from that. My mom and dad, before my dad passed, they would have been married. They were 4 months shy of being married 50 years.
Wow.
And so I would always ask Mom, because my daddy was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I loved him, loved my daddy, but he made some poor choices. And I would ask her, how did you get past that? I mean, what did you do? How did you stay with this Negro for 50 years when he's doing this? And she would always say, and she still says it to this day, you forgive it when it happens. You forgive it when it happens, and you move on.
And you move on. That's what exactly.
You gotta forgive it when it happens.
Right.
And it's more easier said than done. But we have to look at it as, do we want this relationship to move forward?
Right.
Or do we want to just stay here and stagnant? And just keep going over the same thing over and over again?
Right.
So the couple has to be ready and willing to move forward.
Exactly.
So we can go on with life.
Right.
Because, life is too short to be dwelling over the past.
Right. And
we always look back.
And that's us being able to reconcile, and like Kim said, reconcile this relationship and move forward. A lot of times with you, just what you said, she just forgave. And a lot of couples always say, well, I'll never forget. Of course you'll never
forget.
We
Yeah,
know
we
it
didn't
happened.
say that.
We didn't say you'll never forget. We know that it did happen. I'm not saying just, okay, just move on. No, but that's the process. Let's talk about it during this time. Once we get to this point, let's move forward because we know it happened.
Yes.
But we cannot keep repeating that same cycle. You can't say, I've forgiven you and you're doing it again. You keep forgiving, and to me, that's not forgiveness. You're just repeating the same cycle, and that means you're not ready. And that means, to me, if they keep doing the same thing, they made the decision on what direction they want to go. Because if you keep doing, if I kept spending money, kept putting us our account in debt, I wasn't ready for this relationship.
Right.
I was just thinking about myself.
You got to move forward.
Yeah.
You got to move forward.
You have to be ready to move forward.
So here's a question. Kim says, what are steps to start over in a new relationship and not treat the new relationship like what you come from?
I like that. A lot of times we tell couples that you allow them to stand on their own merits. I allow Kenneth to be Kenneth. I didn't look at Kenneth as the last person I dated. Even if it appeared or looked that way, I had to always remind myself, this is Kenneth. That's why I say, even if it looked like he was going in that direction of my previous relationship, this is Kenneth. And me just, again, communicate, let him know, Kenneth, okay, these are the things that I went through in my past relationship. And a lot of times we do that. But if Kenneth loved and cared for me, he wouldn't do those things to hurt me because he knows that's what caused damage in my past relationship.
Right.
So what he does is he just try to reassure me that, and even now, like even when something looks that way, he'll say that's not what it was. You thought it looked that way, and we sit down and we discuss it and talk about it, and I just get a better understanding. Okay, I didn't see it that way. Kenneth and our favorite saying is, just because I'm right does not mean you're wrong. You just haven't seen it from my point of view.
Right. And at the same time, I was married before.
Yeah, he was.
And in my first marriage, and I told the beat, I said, you deserve your own marriage.
Yeah, he always told
me. I cannot
bring
you and treat you like I treated my first wife.
Right.
And I tell her this all the time. She said, do I act like your first wife? I said, oh no. It's different in night and day.
He does. He
I said, so I can't treat you like I treated her.
Right.
I try to treat you better because you deserve to stand on your own merits.
Right.
So we don't treat each other like that. We don't even bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you act just like my ex-wife, or you act just like my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't even bring that up.
Right.
We don't even bring that up. We try to make each other stand on our own, we that stand on our own word, I stand on my own merits.
Yes.
And we have to try to move up from that relationship.
Yes.
We don't even bring it up unless we just laugh and joke about it.
Exactly.
We don't want to hold each other hostage.
This thing is some work, isn't it?
Yes. And also, let me just say this: if they have some stuff that they hadn't worked through before they're trying to enter into another relationship, work through those first. And what I mean about that, get yourself stronger. Because if I'm still struggling and have issues that's unresolved, I have to be stronger in order for me to be able to move on into another relationship.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't do that.
Yes.
And that's male and female,
Absolutely.
Male and
Absolutely.
female. I'm not just saying
Absolutely. Right.
I'm saying we
right.
as a whole,
That's
we
true.
don't do that.
That's
yes.
true.
And you just have those individuals who, I gotta be in a relationship. I gotta have a man. I gotta have I gotta have a girl. I got to be in a relationship.
Yes.
That becomes them. That becomes if they don't have a relationship, I mean, they're just off keel. I mean, that is their whole goal, their whole total vision. And that's a sign of an unhealthy person.
Unhealthy person, exactly.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's deeper than just them wanting a relationship. That's why when I'm speaking of you trying to get help, get yourself, go figure out why do I feel like I need to be in a relationship? What happened? What's causing me to need that? Why do I need that?
Right.
I always tell Kenna, God gave me what I wanted, not what I needed. God gave me what I needed, I'm sorry, not what I wanted.
True.
Sorry about that. I thought I needed tall, dark, and handsome, or I wanted tall, dark, and handsome, but he provided that need to where, okay, I'm gonna give you this so that once you get here, and I see now that we're here now, how impactful we are in relationships, because you would need a stronger person. No person that's not strong won't be able to handle you or put up with some of the craziness that I do.
Charlotte,
so.
that's going to be a topic for another discussion. Independent women. Whoa! We run across it all the time. We've got to get on that one day. Independent women.
Yes.
My goodness gracious. That's a whole nother ball about wax right there.
Yeah,
that's a bad one.
I'm not going to even go into that.
That's a bad one. We run into that one all the time, Charlotte. All the time.
My favorite quote is, when God does something, he does something so well. I mean, he just does everything so well. Going back to what you said, Ms. Lavita, you wanted this, but God gave you what you really needed. And I think sometimes God does that really to protect ourselves, to protect us.
He does.
Because if he gave us exactly what we wanted, then that becomes the idol.
Exactly.
And that removes him from his place in your life. And so he's got to, he's got to give us, most of what we want, but he didn't, he gonna trick us on that other part so we can make sure we keep him in, where we're supposed to. But we're gonna have to come back and talk about that.
That's gonna take a whole day. That's gonna take a whole day, because that's a big one.
That one is
that
huge.
is a huge one right there.
It is.
Wow.
That submission word is just, we think that's just such a horrible word, and we feel like that strips our independence when we are able to submit. But it's so funny to me that we can submit to that boss for 40 years that we don't even like.
I say the same thing.
We can, we gonna fuss and cuss and all the other stuff. About submitting to a man who submitted to God. That is different.
That's the key. Submitted. There's the key. Submitting to God. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Yes.
If it's, if he's not submitting to God, then that's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole nother issue.
But we have a problem submitting to a Christian man who is being directed by God and who's getting a vision from God.
Yes.
We don't want to stop buying them shoes.
No, we don't. No, we don't want to do that. Now that's too much like
See, you already opening that can up and them worms is coming out. You open that can up and them worms are coming out.
I got several people already on the line talking about schedule that one now.
Because that's a good one.
That is a great one. Yeah.
I mean, we see so many marriages that is wreaking havoc upon.
Yeah.
It is killing marriages, man.
Is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I had to share with the young lady the other day. She's kind of struggling in her marriage, and she just called me. She said, I keep doing it. I'm trying to do everything I need to do. I'm trying to do everything that I should do, but it don't seem like he's willing to do what he needs to do for this relationship. And I just told her, I said, you keep doing what you need to do, what you should do as a wife. And she said, looked at me like, really? I said, yeah. I said, because at the end of the day, the Lord's going to ask her, Lavita, how did you treat Kenna? I can't say, well, Lord, you remember when he did that and he said that and he did all that? Lavita, that's not the question I ask you. I ask you, how did you treat Kenna? Because guess what? He's going to ask Kenna, how did you treat Lavita?
Same question.
He's going to have to respond to that. So I told her, I said, the thing that really helped me in this marriage, in and everything I did, a lot of times I didn't want to cook. A lot of times I probably didn't want to do certain things, but I remembered, who am I doing it for? I'm doing it as unto the Lord. At the end of the day, I want the Lord to say, Lavita, you've done a really good job. So even if I went in there, I tried not to sling pots. I tried my best not to do that. A few times I may have, I'm not gonna lie. I slung pots a few times, but I tried my best not to, because at the end of the day, once I realized this is bigger than me, it's not about me. I want him to say, Lavita, you did, even when Kenna was ugly, even when he didn't do what you asked him to do, you still did what you were supposed to do. So well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. Yes. That's what keeps me going, is that I'm not doing this for Kenna. That's what I want to hear.
You're doing it for Kenna, but you're not doing it for Kenna.
Right.
It's hard. That is hard. Sometimes that's really hard to do, because again, nobody wants to be hurt.
Right.
And so, and we'll wrap this up with this last question.
Okay.
How do you know? Because you're in this relationship and you're trying to make it work, and you're trying to do the right thing, but this person continues to do those things that are hurting the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you decide, or you say, you know, I can't do this anymore?
That is good. That is good, because I had to go through that.
Okay.
I was in my first marriage for several years, 15, 17, 19 years, something like that. And I think I stayed in it too long, but I just had to stay in there until I found out that I was doing the will of the Father first. I had to make sure I was doing that, because I had a pastor with me. He went with me throughout the whole ordeal. He said, "Kenneth, you're sticking." I said, "No, it's getting too tough for me. I can't handle it anymore."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Kenneth, just stick with it." I said, "How long do I stay in this?
Right.
This hurtful relationship, this hurtful marriage. How long do I stay in this?" He said, "Well, you stay in it until the Lord answers you." I said, "That don't even make sense."
Right.
Right. The Lord answered me a long time ago, I thought.
Right.
And you know, I look back at it and I said, if I had to jump out when I jumped out, it wouldn't have turned out like this. But I tell the couples this now: you stay in it until it's getting to an abusive part.
Exactly.
If it's getting too abusive, where one person is being hurt by the other person, don't stay there.
Exactly.
Don't stay there. If they're abusing you and pushing you around and stuff, don't stay there. Exactly. But if it's just little penny stuff and it's stuff that's really hurting you, keep praying about it and keep talking, trying to talk to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know, communication open.
Yeah, try to keep the line of communication open. But at the same time, you don't let them abuse you.
Right.
Don't let them use you. But at the same time, you keep doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to be having to abandon the marriage.
Right.
You know, because the Lord tells us in the Bible that if your wife abandons the relationship, stop doing her duties as a wife. If the husband stops doing his duties as a wife, then we can be released. Mm-hmm. Then we can be released from this relationship. It's not only adultery. People think, oh, you get a divorce by adultery. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Right.
The wife abandons her role as a wife in a relationship, you can go.
Yes.
With the blessings of the Lord. If the husband abandons his role as a husband in the relationship, the wife can go. Mm-hmm. She can go and have the blessings of the Lord. But you have to make sure that both of us are doing our part, or that I'm at least doing my part. Mm-hmm. I try my best to stay in the will of the Father. I try my best to keep doing the will of the Lord by ministering and sharing and stuff like that. But when I found out that she stopped doing her role as a wife, that gave me a new outlook. Mm-hmm. That gave me a new outlook. To say, okay, now you have a sign to go now. Mm-hmm. Now you have a that you want to. If you want to. But my job is try to strengthen her at the same time.
Right.
You know, try to get her to reverse the curse and all of that. Mm-hmm. And when she didn't do that anymore, and me and the pastor agreed, said, okay, the role has been abandoned now as a wife, we can leave now.
Right. And I haven't been married before, but I also tell them when it gets too bad, because Ken talked about the abuse part, when it gets too bad where it's total disrespect. I think, and I think, just if you think about a woman or just any relationship, even when you're fed up, you don't have to tell a woman. I always think of what's love got to do with it. When she was done, when Tina was done, it was no one had to tell her. She was willing to walk away from everything. Right. So I feel like when you're at that point where I'm willing to give up everything just to make sure I'm safe, or I need to be where I need to be.
Right.
To me, that's telling you when you need to move on. I don't think no one has to tell us. No one has to show us. I just think you know yourself. You know how much you're willing to put up with, and when you're ready to move. But I always tell couples or women or men or whoever in those type of relationships, I always have a plan. You won't have to go back. Right. Because if you go back, it's worse than what it was. Have a plan where you don't have to go. You may have to live in this little bit apartment that you're uncomfortable. It's okay. You may have to live in a community you don't like. It's okay. Have a plan where you don't go back. That's how. That's what I'm doing.
This has been some good stuff. This has been
Yes, Charlotte.
information. I have enjoyed talking to you all. It doesn't seem like it's been over an hour.
Are you
Wow,
serious?
it has.
does not seem like it's been over an
It seems like we're just
hour.
having fun, enjoying one another's company.
Yes.
Satisfied, but God, this is great stuff. Tell us where the listeners can find you on your YouTube channel and any other places.
Thank you. Yes, Kenneth and I, like I said, we started a blog/podcast. You can find us on The Davison. That's the THE Davison, which is DAVISON Intervention. That's our YouTube. Also, if you're interested in reaching out to us, we do have a website. It is the Davison Intervention, www.thedavisinintervention.com. Yes, thank you. Kim, I have to remind me sometime. We also have a Gmail. You can email us as well at thedavisinintervention@gmail.com. If you email me and you want to talk, I do have I don't have my personal number. I'm not going to give out, but I do have, and I don't have my other number. But if they email me, I don't mind talking with them. We're eager to just hear from you all. And Kenneth and I, we do our YouTube every Monday. We load it up every Monday. So we're excited about, what we're doing. So we're really excited about that.
And we would love to help couples get back on track.
Yes.
Because we know at the end of the day, it's not going to be about us.
It's about
couples.
It's about couples.
And if we can get more couples to share more and more of their ideas, more and more of their responses, who knows how this thing can catch on fire. And we can have more and more relationships built back up again.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
So thank you, Charlotte, so much. Thank you so much. This has been a blessing to us.
This was much needed. I would say that this is much needed.
Yes.
And we're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely. When you guys are available, because I know your schedules are really, really busy. I've been trying to get you all pinned down for a minute. So, but you tell me when you are available. Just a reminder to our guests, if you give me a day or two, these videos are uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is Charlotte M. Watson. You can go and take a look at these videos if you did not get a chance to see them from the beginning. My goal with Girl Talk is to help individuals build relationships with God, with themselves, and with others. And so hopefully we've done that tonight. You have some information and some tools that you can start building a better relationship and at your house, in your home, and so that you can ultimately be a model for your daughters and your sons and other individuals who's in your life. So thank you again. We hope to hear from you soon. Hey, Mr. Ken, we got to do that in the Independent Woman. We got to do that session.
Most definitely.
Yes. Got to get that Independent Woman.
Got to.
Yes, Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you too.